because it mutes the mics until
Yeah, you're good.
it starts.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Coast Raiders, Coast to Coast. It's episode 3 here. Um, I know a little technical difficulties tonight. I apologize. My
Yeah.
man Nathan over here, LV rated 10.
What's going on, guys? Yeah, I'm sorry again for the technical difficulties. This is our first time, trying out this OBS. I know a couple of other live show hosts had some problem using this, so we're gonna go ahead and try our luck out. But so far, all right, I guess. Not so good. So far, all right.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay from what we're seeing. Um, well, I'm glad you're back home now. You're home safe and sound from your trip to Cincinnati last week.
Yes, sir.
Um, so obviously it was a good trip all the way around.
Oh yeah, everything was super great. Cincinnati is an amazing city. Honestly, everyone is so nice there. Had a great time out there. Um, got to watch some good to okay football out of the Bengals at least.
Yeah, yeah, at least one team looks good.
Yeah. But yeah, everything was good. Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun time. I highly recommend going to Cincinnati to everyone just to get an experience for sure.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're gonna jump right into this tonight. I know I went on earlier today because I was just taken aback by the news that came out from AP that
Mhm.
we're gonna start Gardner Minshew
Yep.
this weekend. Um, and I needed to get on because I just wanted to vent because I was just so disgusted with that move. So, what's your take on it first? We'll start with you tonight.
I kind of touched on it last week when we were going over like the Bengals game like right after. Ritter looked really good. I thought he looked really good in the last couple of or like the last quarter of the game. I thought he looked good and I thought he honestly did enough to show that, maybe just give him at least some kind of a shot to, get the starting spot. But I mean, I guess to the coaching staff, you're paying Minshew a lot of money. Um, so might as well throw him out there again. Of course, it's not Luke Getzey for this upcoming week against the Dolphins. So maybe
Yeah,
with a different play caller, we can get that Minshew that was there last week for the Colts, or last year for the Colts, I should say. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, hopefully with Scott Turner, he finds something in Minshew that we've been looking for all season.
yeah, I kind of agree with that. Um, I mean, the Minshew we have this year is a different Minshew than last year, and I think a lot of that is also because at the time Indianapolis had a running game and they had an offensive line that could protect them. So
Hmm.
you did see what he could do as a quarterback in this league with the talent that was around him. He doesn't even have close to the same talent around him here,
Yeah.
or offensive play calling either. So that was also a blaring weakness.
Right.
Um, I wasn't in favor of him starting this weekend because we already know what we got with him. We know what his ceiling is,
Yeah.
and we know how bad he is when he's below ground. Basically, he's
Yeah.
not even at the floor level. He's sub level. Um, so you already know what you're getting with him. So at this point, it's all about evaluating the talent that's on your roster. So you get this kid Ritter a few weeks ago. He's new to the team. We threw him out there in, short time, learning, basic plays that we have. Now it's a whole new offensive scheme, possibly, or some serious changes made. Put the kid out there, see what he's got for talent, because we already know that Minshew's not the answer. He shouldn't be on the team at the end of the season.
Hmm.
So it should be evaluating your current roster that you know is going to be here next year. So you see how this kid plays under the gun. You know that when O'Connell's good, he's going to be the starter. But until then, let the kid play. Because right
Yeah.
about now, it's all about developing players for next year. And it also gives you a better idea on what you need to address in the draft. You know, excuse me. So I look at it this way. In the draft, obviously we want to go for a quarterback, but you still want to make sure that you've got other quarterbacks on the roster that's going to help your team going forward. So if we go into next year with a new rookie quarterback, you have O'Connell, you have Ritter, Minshew's gone. Those are the three that you put put your effort towards. But it's all about evaluating Ritter, because if you don't want him, and I don't know what his contract is, he's also trade bait, for draft
Mm-hmm.
picks. Even if they're like fourth, fifth, sixth round picks, who cares? It's draft equity.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to see Ritter play, evaluate this kid. I just think it was a bad move, but I'm not the one getting paid millions of dollars to coach the team or figure out what they want to do. So there's some schmuck on the East Coast that doesn't know what I'm talking about, supposedly. So
I had that kind of same feeling about, but not about Ritter, but about Minshew, that we could possibly. He's a good. I think he still could be a good, backup to bridge starting quarterback for another team. Obviously, it didn't work out for us, but I think he's a
no,
good backup, bridge starting quarterback kind of guy. We just did not put him in the best situation, and that was extremely evident whenever he started. So, I think how you were saying you can possibly get Ritter for like maybe 4 through 7 round picks. I feel like we could possibly do that with Minshew if we will have if we want to move on from him, because like you said we still have O'Connell who's cheaper, Ritter is cheaper, and then whoever
you know,
comes in and in the draft, if we do end up drafting somebody, is going to be cheaper as well. So I think we can possibly get some kind of draft equity, maybe something decent to okay for Minshew.
yeah, I don't think you're gonna get much from Minshew.
No.
I don't think you're really gonna get. If you're lucky, you'll get a seventh round pick, if that.
Hmm.
Um, the value's just not there. I see Luke Chavez in your channel. They just asked the question, "How do you feel about Shador and Cam?" We're gonna get to um, the quarterbacks for the draft for the future, and then see what happens. As far as your other question, and develop O'Connell or trade him, I, again, we already know what O'Connell is. He's a good serviceable quarterback right now. He's definitely capable of being our starter, as far as I'm concerned. Um, but again, you're also asked, yeah, Minshew's going to walk, which is fine with me. I'd see you later.
I think we have him for. I think we signed him for 2 years though. I don't know if there was like any kind of team or player kind of option that was attached to that,
Yeah, I
considering
don't
that
know.
second year. But I think we did sign him for 2 years. I want to believe
It was like a $25 million contract or something like that. So
something
it's
like
short
that.
money. I mean, it's not a shit ton of money, but for what he was signed for and what he's ultimately become, it's not working. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't even waste that time with him anymore. It's his time is done. Let's see. I personally think we trade Max Crosby for a lot of first round picks and then rebuild from there.
yeah.
Um, I think there would be a lynch mob of fans at Allegiant Stadium if we would ever trade away, let Max go at this point, because he's like the lone bright star on this team at this point.
Yeah,
Especially, I mean, on the defense for sure, but overall, it's pretty much him and Brock Bowers right now are like the two guys that are like kind of untouchable for our team.
that's what I think as well.
But so how do you feel about Shadura? I kind of know what your feeling is, and it's not even one of those two. I know you're kind of hyped on Dart, but let's just look at those two, because if we're gonna pick in the first round, it's gonna be one of those two.
Hmm.
Because any other quarterback, we're gonna be reaching for them in the first round. So give me your feeling on these two.
Okay. So for for Shador, I honestly I like him as a player. I think he's a very good, solid player, and I think he shows a lot of flashes of things that can be translatable to the NFL game. Like I like his accuracy. I think his pocket presence is pretty good. For the most part, it's pretty good considering they have a bad offensive line. Um,
Hmm.
but I think he's just like we don't need any more like divas in the Raiders locker room, especially. Like we were in Las Vegas and that comes with a whole stigma already. And then with if Shador comes and he brings an attitude that he's already been showing at Colorado, like he's not going to have I mean, Dion's not going to be on the coaching staff to try to like baby him, I guess, like hands on him. So I don't know. I really don't like that. Cam Ward, I like as a prospect as well. I think he's a little raw.
Mhm.
He turns the ball over a lot more than I would like, but he has that home run ability where and at any play he can make something happen. But I feel like those kind of guys recently have not been good in the NFL or they have not developed well in the NFL. The only one in recent memory has been Josh Allen, and it took him 3 years, maybe 4 years, to really and to develop Josh Allen. Um, but guys like as we've seen, Anthony Richardson has not worked out. Caleb Williams is not looking
No.
super great. I really like Caleb Williams, but he hasn't looked great. So it really depends on the. I think it depends more on the coaching staff, and the development of the player. But we want to see results now. We're in a what have you done for me lately kind of league. So if they're not going to produce in the first couple of weeks, really, or first year, it's kind of hard to tell everybody like, hey, relax, let's see how things develop. But yeah, that's my thing on those two right there.
Um, yeah, and that's what I was just gonna look at too. He does come with drama because it's Dion involved, possibly. And no, I don't want him as our head coach either. But
This is my feeling right here and this
I mean,
comment.
like, yeah, I know I heard that one a lot now too lately. I think out of the two, just the pure talent and leadership, I gotta go with Shador. I didn't want either one of them. I shouldn't say that. I was more leaning towards Ward,
Hmm.
but I'm slowly reaching out for that handrail on the Shador train.
Yeah.
So I'm 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 getting there. I'm getting there because I'm seeing what the kid can do. I mean, this weekend proved a little bit more to me that I said it the other night on Leo's show that there's a little bit more of a separation between the two now. Whereas they were kind of even before, but I think Shador just jumped ahead a little bit more in the
Hmm.
ranking between the two, just based on this past weekend's game or games.
Yeah.
Shador was able to bring them back and win that game, and Ward couldn't get it done. So I, I think the leadership, his just ability, his talent. I mean, the kid's proved it.
Hmm.
So I'm more on the Shador thing. Yeah, and Mark did well. I mean, you got to look at too. He's also got a relationship with Brady
With
too.
Tom
Now that
Brady, yeah,
Brady's part owner,
and Max
you know,
Crosby.
he's yeah, he's been mentoring this kid for the last couple of years. So I mean, it's only going to benefit him if he does come to the Raiders, where Brady gets involved. But because he's a part owner and he's also working for a broadcast organization, what type of rules allows him to, do anything like that, if he's even
Yeah.
going to be able to, because I'll tell you right now, he ain't giving up his 300 and something $1 million contract on TV,
Yeah.
you know. But I mean, again, they have to look at the ramifications if he does something that, is going to jeopardize that. So again, he's got that relationship with Brady. By having that relationship with Brady, he's automatically got that relationship with Mark Davis because Brady's in his ear. So I think that's the one that we're going to target.
Yeah.
But now the problem is where we end up at the end of the season.
Right.
What draft pick are we gonna have?
Right.
You know, so I mean, you got to kind of look at where we're ranked right now. I think we're number 5 if the draft would have happened today,
Hmm.
and then you got to look at
I
who's in
think we
front
are
of
at
us
five.
yeah, who's going to need a quarterback in front of us?
Yeah,
I don't have it up in front of me. I did have it earlier, but I think I closed it out. I know the Giants are ahead of us.
right.
I don't know what they're going to do with Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
They're paying him a shit ton of money to suck worse than Minshew.
Yeah.
Um, so there's that. The Giants could end up taking him. Um, Jacksonville doesn't need a quarterback. I'm trying to think of who else is ahead of us. Cleveland. Somebody said Cleveland
Cleveland.
needs a quarterback. I'm like, I don't think so. I mean,
I think they're tied up in
yeah,
too
they
much
still have
money
Watson.
to pick a
Yeah,
quarterback.
they got too much money sunk into Watson right now, and you still
Mm-hmm.
have Jameson Winston too.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've got two quarterbacks that are more than capable of starting. So for them to draft one, I mean, if they did, it would be as big of a surprise as Atlanta last year taking Penix.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so you got to look at where we're going to end in the overall rankings for the draft at the end of the season. Which
Mm-hmm.
I understand why people were fine with Minshew starting because that gives us the best chance to lose. But so does putting in a young kid like Ritter too.
Yeah.
The kid's kind of still unproven in the league.
He lost
So
plenty of
he
games
could,
in Atlanta.
yeah, he started. They thought he was going to be the starter, and then he wasn't.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out for him there. But it's what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought there. it, it, if those two quarterbacks, if we finish further back in the first round, and those two quarterbacks get taken before we get a shot at them,
Yeah.
now that just throws a whole monkey wrench into everything for us. So now it's like, where do we pivot to now?
That's what I have this comment up for, because I think I've made it pretty clear. I'm maybe not on this show exactly, but I made it kind of clear on who my favorite quarterback is in this draft, and that's Jackson Dart. And so I think if we can basically double down on getting really, really good talent, and obviously
Mhm.
he says here Genty, which I would love Genty, but we kind of talked about it pre-show that you don't really pick running backs super high like that in the draft. Um, but I mean, you can substitute Genty for maybe someone like Mason Graham, or if you want to do Will Johnson, if you want to go Mason Graham, the defensive lineman for in Michigan. He's like one of the best players in this draft. Will Johnson is the cornerback for Michigan. He's another one of the best players in this draft. If you want to go defensively, if you pick your favorite pick at receiver, if you want to go offensively, I think if we do not go with a quarterback in the first, or if we win enough games from here on out that we kind of take ourselves out, or T Mac, yeah, I just seen T Mac right here. Tatero McMillan from Arizona is a really good receiver out of Arizona. Um, yeah, like pick your favorite choice there, really. Um, you know, but if we win enough games from here on out to where we kind of take ourselves out of the quarterback market in the draft in the first round, I think our best bet would to take basically the best player available at the first pick, whatever it would be, probably like we'd probably end up like 10, maybe 11, somewhere right there. And then Dart in the second, or maybe someone like Ewers in the second, someone like um I've been seeing a lot of Garrett. I think his name is Garrett Nussmeyer from LSU.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think this quarterback class is actually kind of deeper than what everyone is saying. In my personal opinion, obviously, I'm not like a scout
Well,
or anything.
there's two that set themselves apart from everybody
Yes,
else.
exactly, exactly.
So everybody's talking about those two. I mean, yeah, we could get one of the others later on, but I just if we fall as far as the 10th pick, by far those two are going to be gone. I
Yeah, of
can pretty
course.
much guarantee those two are going to be gone. So my feeling on the pivot is we go with the best offensive lineman out there. We we got to put our capital towards that.
There's a ton of
You
good
know,
tackles in this draft. A ton.
yeah, yeah. So I would go for the best offensive lineman first, and then when the second round comes around, see what you can get. I mean, unless we can somehow move up into the early picks in the first round
Mhm.
and still get that quarterback as long as we don't give away too much.
Right.
Which is why I think what we should have done is we should have before the draft, we should have had I said it the other night too on Leo's show, we should have had a fucking fire sale,
Yeah.
and Leo was like, "Well, who are we gonna get rid of?" I said, "Everybody." You pick a few players that you know are untouchable, and you put the other ones up for grabs. Season's done. Nah, season's a wash. We're not gonna win. We're not gonna make the playoffs. We're
Mhm.
not going to the Super Bowl. Even if we win out, we're not going anywhere. So let these guys go now. Put everybody up. Because right now, what it's all about is about getting bodies on the in the practice for next year or in the camps by draft picks. Grab these guys in the draft. Because then you can have the pick of the litter, and by having more draft picks, also gives you more options to move up too. So you
Mhm.
could make your first round pick, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it comes to pick like 15, and we just traded away a second round and a third or a fourth, and we move back into the first round again too. You got to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Look what Houston did last year. They picked
That's
back to
exactly what I
back,
was gonna say.
and and they cleaned house with those two picks. That's kind of what you need to do is something like that. So having that extra draft equity with picks is huge,
Yeah.
and that's something that we've never done. You know,
Mhm.
will Telesco do that? Who knows? We have to wait and see.
I mean, Tom Telesco, even going back to his like time with the Chargers, he's always picked like kind of the best available person. He's definitely has reached on a couple of people. Like Mike Williams, I thought was kind of high. Quentin Johnston in the first is kind of a miss. So basically at wide receiver in the first round, he doesn't do very good, but he's definitely uh drafted decently well, and that
Mhm.
is also shows in his first draft as this year he got JPJ, DJ Glaze, and obviously Brock Bowers. Those
Yeah,
are
he nailed the first three picks.
yeah, it's like great. So if he can get another, or if he can continue that consistency in the draft, this rebuild might be a lot faster than what people expect.
Not typical GM who reaches for picks. He picks. Yeah, I mean that's just it, and that's what we've had in the past. We've had GMs and head coaches, Gruden, that ends up reaching for players.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like I hate this guy. This pick annoys the shit out of me to this day. And he's not even on the team anymore. The whole Leatherwood pick.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
so
that
bad.
that that goes down as probably one of the worst picks I can think of that we've made besides um Jamarcus. That was a nightmare too. So I mean our track record with draft picks is not the best.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like this year was it felt good. Just even as early as the day of all those different picks, it felt good because it's like, okay, we've got uh, the best athletic talent that was out there at pick 13 because we had no shot at any of those quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And to draft a quarterback at 13 this past draft would have been a super reach. So Bowers was a no-brainer, and he's paid off.
Oh
Then
yeah.
you come back in the second round with JPJ, another no-brainer,
Mhm.
and then you come in and then you follow it up with Glaze. I mean, they just been they just been 3 hits, and that doesn't happen that often with us.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah, Pharrell was kinda
Farrell in the fourth
yeah.
was is pretty bad. That's yeah, that was
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah, I'll give you that one, Luke.
Yeah,
So offensive line for this oh, no, I know what we forgot to talk about. We forgot to talk about, Maya being back.
that's right.
So forgot about that. Um, that opens up the offense a little bit more too, because
Definitely.
he's with Norv Turner's schemes. Now I know Norv Turner's not the offensive coordinator, but he's gonna guide his kid, obviously, and
Mhm.
the son's gonna pick his brain.
Oh, for sure.
They were a Well, I should say he was a two tight end type of coach,
Mhm.
because he was a big run guy too. So I like to pass a lot too, but running the two tight end schemes is probably going to help us. I mean, he did put on some weight, Maya this year before the start of the season.
Mhm.
So he's a better blocker for
Yeah.
sure. Excuse me. He's a better blocker than Bowers is. So that just gives us an extra wide body at the line, to hopefully open up our running game. As far as receiving, he's a good receiver too. So
Yeah,
I mean, don't get
he's
me
very
wrong.
good.
Yeah. So I mean, having him back helps a lot. What's your feeling on him being back?
Yeah, so I think it could only help us, of course. Um he so my feeling is since we lost Devonte Adams, we basically lost a receiver. Put Bowers at the slot at like the H back type of role. Like make
Hmm.
him go out for majority of the routes. Make him essentially our slot receiver, and then Mayer can take all of the inline tight end routes and all of those reps. And I think it could be pretty good from uh if we use them in those type of ways because Bowers is obviously the better receiver. Mayer is a better blocker, and like you said, he still has receiving potential. So we can definitely still use him in the passing game.
Yeah. Trade Baker for a third round pick.
Yeah,
I mean, why do you want to get rid of him so bad? Everybody wants to get rid of him. Too. I'm hearing that a lot. It's like, why do we
yeah.
want to get rid of him?
I don't know.
I
I
no,
like Michael
I don't
Mayer as
agree with
well.
trading him. Yeah, I don't agree with trading him away. I think that'd be kind of a bad move.
Yeah,
Freezing in here tonight.
yeah. I think we could
I,
definitely use his talents for sure. And we were
yeah,
really missing him, especially because AP said in the beginning of the year like it's a good thing to have two tight ends. Like he was always afraid of going against teams that had two really good tight ends, and he hasn't played
yeah,
at all this whole season. So who knows what kind of position we would be in if he would play the beginning of the year.
yeah. I mean, this game this weekend against Miami, this is the do or die situation I look at. If they're really going to come out and try and play to win this game, or are they just going to give it up? I mean, they've already shown me that they're giving up by starting Minshew. So, so that there's that instead of, like I said, putting Ritter in there and seeing what he's got. So they're already 50-50 on with totally just giving up on the air. So is this game winnable against Miami? I think it is.
It's very
You
possible.
know, I mean, granted, they kind of did a number on the Rams Monday night.
Hmm.
You know, Stafford didn't get a single touchdown.
Yeah, all
Nothing. They didn't even. Actually, they didn't get a touchdown at all on offense. Not even their defense. It was all field goals. So can we beat Miami? I mean, that offense is scary with Tua. I mean, all we got to have is Max Crosby get in the backfield and just smack the back of Tua's helmet just a little bit, just once, and he's probably gonna go down with another concussion.
oh my
You know,
god.
I mean, I shouldn't laugh about that. I mean, it's a bad thing. I don't want to see anybody get hurt,
Right,
but
right.
that's pretty much what it takes. Then the idiot mother. Did you see that tackle he tried making?
Oh yeah, that's right. I seen that on the interception, right?
Yeah, dude, you're concussion prone, but yet you're gonna go and try and tackle this guy and go head first at it. What are you nuts? Oh my god! If I was a coach, I would have been reaming his ass out.
Oh yeah.
You can't be doing that shit. Oh my god.
Yeah, that
Gonna
was
lock up
crazy.
Tyreek. Yeah, I don't know about that one, man. That's a tough matchup. It's about locking up Tyreek with Ja'Cory Bennett.
Uh
I, this is they're just so fast. This team,
yeah,
you
they're
know,
they're
uh,
really fast.
especially I mean, think about it. You got A Chain coming out of the backfield is like lightning in a bottle. Then you got Tyreek, and then you got Waddle on the other side. I mean, you talk about just pure speed. I mean, they remind me of the Raiders of old when we were just built on speed.
Mhm.
Just throw the ball up and we'll go that. Just go catch it. Just we're gonna throw it deep. Just keep running until you don't
Yep.
see the ball anymore.
Cliff Branch
You
type.
know, Tua can't handle it. Well, it's not so much whether Tua can't handle Crosby. It's going to be the offensive line if they're going to be able to contain him. But again, all they got to do is double team him because we've got nobody on the opposite side that takes the pressure off of him, and that's another weakness right now.
Yeah.
Or at least Wilkins. If Wilkins was there, stuff in the middle. We don't have that. I mean, the only thing we have that makes me feel good is punter and our field goals and Carlson. Other than
Yeah.
that, I mean, Wilkins, I don't think he's coming back
Yeah.
this year. I think
Wilkins
he's
is
out.
out. Yeah, he's gonna
Yeah,
come back next year, but yeah, I mean our defense has been really beat up, but offensive the Dolphins offense is honestly pretty scary to me as well. When if they can get going and be like last year's offense, I think we're gonna have some trouble. And then they add A Chain, who I think at this point is better than Mostert, and Mostert led the league in rushing touchdowns last season. So
yeah,
if they can start clicking like offense of old, it's gonna be kind of a tough task to ask Jacorian Bennett, Nate Hobbs, Jack Jones, who all have been pretty good. Well, not so much Jack Jones, but the other two have been really good this entire season. But I don't know if they can handle that kind of speed. I do like I think Merrick can handle his own back there, but Isaiah Palomao I think might be a little too slow to cover the top on sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. We will see definitely. Max Crosby is going to be huge this game, and if we can get more out of Tyree Wilson, I think that would be rather huge this game as well.
yeah. That's the other thing too. I mean, he has been playing better. He has had a minimal effect, but effect either way. He's still showing signs, proof of life now. You
Yeah,
know, so I mean, there's that, but still, not having Kuntz out there is killing us too.
yeah. I
You know,
really wish he would have at least played a few games just to see what
yeah,
we have with Kuntz, but I don't know. Hopefully that means we can get him cheaper to stay now, and he can come back, better than what he was supposed to be this year. But
yeah.
I don't know. And then the addition of Wilkins, of course, everybody playing, I think is just going to be a complete different team. Honestly, we've been riddled with injuries, and it's really shown.
Yeah, I'm sure it's killing Wilkins not being able to play in this game to go up against his former team.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure that's bothering him big time. I mean, who doesn't want to play against the team that didn't want to re-sign the player, and he loses that chance.
Yep,
Just
exactly.
think in a few weeks we're gonna play against New Orleans, so that ought to be interesting to see how that game
Yeah,
goes.
that game is going to be rather. I think it's going to be crazy.
Well, think about it. If Carl loses to us, he's now lost every single
Every
team in the
single team.
NFL.
And I think the only other person is what, Brett Favre? I think Brett Favre has. Oh no, Brett Favre
I
has
don't even know. I didn't even
beat.
know there was. I thought he was the first. He's going to be the first player to lose to everybody.
Right, Brett Favre beat every other team, is what it is. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. See, Tua is a good quarterback. He's just the concussions have just hurt him. So when you look at his stats, you don't think his stats are that great because he's just the concussions just knock him out of too many games.
Yeah.
You know, you know what it was. Tua before McDaniel showed up was a good quarterback, but he wasn't being used right. Basically, it's like he totally woke up when McDaniel's took over down there, or McDaniel took over down there. He was like a totally different player.
Mhm.
But now he just, a stiff breeze blows by and he gets a concussion. So it's like, he's next thing you know, he gets hit and he's throwing up crip hands on the ground, because he can't move. But he's not a bad quarterback, and especially the fact that they gave him weapons too. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you add Tyreek Hill to any quarterback, and they're automatically gonna. It's an upgrade,
Mhm. I
you
think
know.
Tua has definitely struggled with arm strength issues, like getting the speedsters of the ball, definitely. But besides that, I think he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. Um, and I mean, it showed last year. He led the league. I believe he led the league in yards last year. So that that definitely shows you what they have or potentially could have in Miami. So I mean, there's just kind of bad luck, kind of like we had this year with injuries.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, this weekend, this game should be a good game. You know, let's see what happens.
Hmm.
Just
How do you think we attack uh offensively, the Raiders offense? How do you think we go about trying to dismantle the Miami's defense? I know they have also been experiencing some injury issues. I believe I'm not sure it was Bradley Chubb or was it the other end that was out early in the season. I can't think of the other end's name right now, but one of their ends is definitely out
I'm
for
not sure.
early in the year. Um, and I their defense is I think pretty good, but not one of the top tier defenses in the league.
What's going on? I'm sorry, I zoned out there
Oh
for
no,
a
you're
second. I
good.
just had one of my screens just shut down on me here.
No, you're all good.
No, what I'm looking at. That's why. I'm sorry.
Oh no,
I
you. I get you. I get you.
I minimized it by accident. I couldn't. I think it went so far down I couldn't even freaking see it. Uh, hey, what's up, Just Win Raiders? Um, it's just, eh, yeah. I mean, their defense is good. I mean, look what they did to um, L.A. Monday night, and L.A. had everybody.
Yeah,
You know, you had Puka back, you had Cooper Cup out there. You know, you know, and they shut down that offense basically. I mean, I just had that over here too. What did he have? Stafford. I mean, he had 293 yards passing, but no touchdowns.
yeah.
You know, I mean, Cup and
Puka.
Nakua had 98 yards for Nakua and 80 for Cup. You know, their running game wasn't that great. Williams had 62 yards in that game.
Mm,
Our running game is not going to get 62 yards at Miami.
no.
Not again. I mean, we really can't say yes or no on that, to be honest with you, because we don't know what they've got set up for a scheme. Like, what's the team going to look like when they come out this weekend with a new offensive coordinator? You know, with what are they planning? You know, now that you know Maya's back and Brock's going to be out there, it's like, how are they going to utilize these players in this new, hopefully a new system,
Yeah.
you know, or an adapted system? You know, so I mean, to sit here and say, "Oh, the defense is going to shut us down," I really can't say that right now. You know, until we see what we put out there on the field.
Hmm.
You know, so it will be interesting to see what we put out there and how it goes. You know, obviously the first series is going to tell us everything. If we just do the same shit that we did when Getsy was the offensive coordinator, if we come out and
Hmm.
run the ball right away for like 3 plays in a row, I I definitely have no hope for this team for the rest of the year. There's
Yeah.
just no way. Because if that's what they're doing, it's like, then why'd we bother firing Getsy?
Yeah.
Because
Honestly.
they're doing the same shit he was doing when he was in there. So it would make no sense for them to come out with that same type of game plan.
Hmm.
I don't get that. So I mean, they really got to address some serious things this week. So I mean, they've got 4 days left now. So let's see what they do. But I'm not holding out much hope. And again, we don't really want them to win, do we?
I mean, like I
Without
said.
saying the word, I don't want to say the T word. I hate that word.
Yeah. Like yeah, I had brought it up last week that I don't like to lose. Like I would love for the Raiders to win every game even from here on out. I know that does not put us in the great, you know, drafting position that we are looking for to get that franchise, I guess, quote
Hmm.
unquote quarterback that we feel. Um but I don't know. I just don't like losing. I would rather win as many games as possible. It just everyone has a better time doing that, you know. And I like I said, it doesn't give us the best drafting position, but if we can, you know, make some moves move up to get the guy that we want to move back, or there's always a way. To me, there's always a
Yeah.
way to do it, or to go get the guy that you want. There's always going to be a way. So might as well go win some games. That's my thought behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super competitive when it comes to shit like that,
Mm,
and I don't wanna see us lose games, but if we have any vision of saving this team in the future, then obviously we gotta lose games in order for that to happen, to have even shot at either one of those 2 quarterbacks come next year.
yeah.
Not saying that those 2 one of those 2 quarterbacks is our saving grace, again, there's so many different layers to this that helps you build a championship team. Yeah,
Hmm.
granted, on offense especially, it always starts with your quarterback, but we've been so inept in coming up with the right scheme, and whoever whoever we draft for quarterback and whoever our offensive coordinator is, they have to build around that player, and that's traditionally what we don't tend to do.
Hmm.
They have to build around him. So if it's Sanders, that offense has to be geared towards him. If whatever system they were running in Colorado has been successful for them,
Hmm.
to just look at how he's then take a page from their book and try and incorporate what they did there to make him so successful. If it's if it's adaptable for the NFL, then use some of that, tweak it a little bit,
Mm,
obviously, but make it so it's comfortable for him.
yeah.
Even if it's the verbiage that they use, make it comfortable, make it something that's second nature for him.
Hmm.
You know, you want to make that transition for him as easy as possible. Should he sit for a year if he comes out? I'm not opposed to that either, but that means just another year of like throwing a dot at the wall. It's like,
Right.
we're back at the same situation where we're either going to be good or we're going to be shitty.
Hmm.
If we let him sit and learn, get a year under his belt of taking first team snaps half the week or whatever, however they want to handle it,
Hmm.
rather than just throw him to the wolves. If the O line's not short up, we're gonna destroy this kid,
Yeah,
whoever
that's
it is.
yeah, that's the best way that I think to put Shador Sanders specifically into a great position into being
Mhm.
successful, because like I said earlier, the Colorado does not have a good offensive line, so he always has to make a play happen, and he doesn't want
Oh,
to
what a
scramble.
coincidence! We got a shitty offensive line too. Well, not really shitty, but bad enough.
Like he wants to stay in the pocket, and so like to he wants to be that surgical kind of dissecting the defenses. He wants to be that quick pass, because that's what Tom Brady has taught him to try and emulate. So I would assume that's what he tries to do, and that's what I kind of see on Saturdays is he wants to be a little bit more mental about the game. um
Hmm.
so the best way that I think would to shore up the offensive line and to put a good run game behind him. If we put a good run game behind him, then I mean I think that we can allow Shador to be his best self. Uh, if that does that is that going to happen though? I don't know. I think we need to get a better back, a better offensive play caller. Our offensive line, honestly, I don't think is that far off.
No,
I It's not that
I
far
think we're
off.
like one more piece of the puzzle away. I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so as well. Um, but I think a back is going to be high on our priority list. Obviously, if we do get him, then that takes out quarterback, and then offensive play caller needs to be at the top even before quarterback of the priority list for the Raiders. And I've been seeing a lot of rumblings that if AP gets fired, rather than taking a chance on another rookie head coach and like Ben Johnson, Bobby Slowick, try another offensive mind in Cliff Kingsbury, who has some success in Washington, and then a little bit of success at the head coaching job in when he was in Arizona. How do we feel about that?
I well, first of all, if you want to get somebody like Cliff, you got to make sure that you're going to have the right quarterback.
Yeah.
because what we have right now in the quarterback room is not the answer.
No, definitely not.
Um, he's not going to want to come here for that.
No.
That's half of the reason why he didn't stick around with us when he was here in Vegas talking to the team about coming and being the offensive coordinator this current season.
Mhm.
You know, one was the contract, and two was there was no guarantee we were going to get any of those quarterbacks. All well, specifically Jaden Daniels, because
Right.
obviously that's who we wanted to coach. You know, so it's like if you can't secure that player that he's looking for to coach, then you've got no shot at getting him. It's just not going to happen. Would I like to see somebody like him? Yeah, but I don't think AP's getting fired.
I don't think so. I don't want him to get fired, to be
Just
clear as
watching
well.
that press conference today, I don't know if you watched it or not.
I actually did not.
He was just all smiles, and even after somebody asked him, um, who's your starting quarterback, blah blah blah. Why Minshew, and he's like, what do we got to lose? It's like, what do you got to lose? I mean, that right there just told me that they don't care how they finish the season off. He's like, we want to build his confidence up. Build his confidence up.
Mhm.
What? Why even bother? If anything, build Ritter's confidence up. That's how you should be doing it. But
Yeah.
again, I'm a nobody. So I don't think AP's going anywhere. So I don't even think we're going to be looking for a head coach. And I know another name they kicked around is Ben Johnson from Detroit. I
Yeah.
don't see him leaving Detroit until they get to a Super Bowl and win. Unless they get there this year, but they don't win it, I just feel as though he's going to look at it like my job is not done here until that time.
Mhm.
So I mean, and again, he's going to leave a great thing in Detroit to come to us. I mean, that's the other problem. It's not an enticing job. It
No.
really isn't.
Not right now, it's not,
I
no.
mean, the ownership is not very helpful in getting the right players in here. Will that change with Brady being in the position he's in? I'd like to think it would.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to have a little more say in things. I mean, he's not going to misguide them because his money's on the line too.
Yeah.
He's got a personal investment in this team now, so that changes everything right there with Brady. So I don't think AP's getting fired. As far as bringing in an offensive coordinator, I still think right now it's too soon to say yes or no on that until we see how the rest of the season pans out with Turner.
Mhm.
Because if he turns out to be good and turns the offense around, then why not give him a shot next year? So I'm kind of having a hard time turning away from these coaches because again, it's just that same old no stability, no consistency, and that kills us when you're
Yeah.
switching coaches every 2 years.
Mhm.
You know, or instilling a new offensive scheme every year or every 2 years. It's just too much.
Right.
It's 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 too much for on these players too because there's there's like no sense of consistency and just familiarity with. Oh my god, I can't even talk. With the coaching staff, that means everything. I mean, you look at New England for 19 years of Tom Brady playing in New England. He had the same head coach. He pretty much had the same offensive coordinator for about 75% of his time here in New England.
Yep.
And guess what? They were successful during all that time.
Yep.
So and that's part of the reason because you build a rapport with the coach and your offensive coordinator, and that's what we need to do, and we just don't do that.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know?
that's really uncommon to see in today's NFL for sure. Cuz
Oh
like I
yeah,
said earlier, like
yeah. It's not just
this
us; it's other teams too.
yeah, like I said earlier, it's like what have you done for me lately? And if you don't succeed initially, you don't succeed um right off the bat, then it's hard to keep your that job stability. And whether that's a player, a
Hmm.
coach, a front office, that goes for everybody in this league. So I would, I think, wins does heal everything in that sort of sense. Um, but it's hard to do that when, like you said, you constantly interchange coaches and personnel and front office and everything else that the Raiders have gone through.
Yeah, it just it, it's everybody's so quick to blame Mark Davis too, but I mean, yeah, he does have a hand in this, but he's not a football smart guy,
Mhm.
and you're right, Luke. We just haven't had a good coach. I mean, I said this before. When we hired McDaniels, now I'm not talking about when we fired him, but when we hired him, the day that Mark Davis hired him, that right there set this team back 5 years right from that point.
Yeah.
So we're in year three of when he was hired. And look where we are now. We are so much worse than the team that he took over as the head
Oh,
coach.
we were
We've
a
gone,
Super Bowl almost contender.
well, I wouldn't say Super Bowl contender, but we were a playoff team, you know, where we just needed some extra pieces to the puzzle. But he came in and just totally changed everything,
Mhm.
and the team just went to hell after that. It's like we were so close. He took a legit playoff team and just trashed it.
Yeah.
So this is midway through year three after that asshole is hired, and look where we are. We've got really no viable quarterback right now. Like I've said before, I said our quarterback that's going to be our future is not even on this team, nor is our running back, nor is our number one wide receiver. The only
Mhm.
sure thing we have right now is the number one tight end and our defensive end. The rest of it, well, and our center. Everything else is interchangeable.
Yeah.
So he just set us back so far. I mean, moving on from Carr, and then he goes with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, it's bad.
You think that was the upgrade?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he ran my system before. Yeah, and he sucked then, and he sucked now. Like the people would say, like, well, he was so successful in San Fran. Yeah, because he had offensive weapons around him, and he had a top-notch defense that was winning games for him too.
Mhm.
We ain't
Yeah.
got that, you know. But Jack Rosio, yeah, Del Rio was a good coach for us. I mean, he got let go because we were bringing Gruden in.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was another year. We had a decent team, and then they go and move from him, and just that vicious cycle that we're stuck in now. You
I
know,
honestly, I mean, I like John Gruden as a coach. There now where they absolutely messed this team up was through the draft. That was some absolute like boneheaded, insane type of decisions that they did during the draft. But as a coach, I think he's a really good high IQ football mind and
hmm
someone who is actually really respected around the league. So I think John Gruden is a good coach. I've seen a lot of people try to push in there, like maybe bring him back. I don't really know if everything's going to get cleared, uh, with him having to resign by the NFL and Roger Goodell. I don't know, and his lawsuit against the NFL. I don't think any of that's going to get cleared up by the time we're looking, if we are going to be looking for another coach. Um,
I don't want him back.
you don't want him back? Yeah, I was going to ask you, how do you feel about
No,
John Gruden?
I'm done with the Gruden. You know what? The first time around when he was with us, you know, was his best time with us.
Mm-hmm.
The second go around, he wasn't as good. I don't think. Um, Him and Mayock, they just the, their draft picks were not the best. I think the only one they ever really hit on was Max, and that was a late round pick.
Josh Jacobs,
I
you
think
can
they got luck.
argue.
Yeah, Jacobs. Okay, I'll give you that one too. You know, he struck gold with Max Crosby.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, the only other thing that I think Rudin did was bringing in Darren Waller
Darren
because
Waller,
Waller
yeah.
was good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Waller's
Waller
really
was
good.
good.
Arguably the
Until he
third
started
best
his
tight
injury
end.
prone season.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ruggs could have been something, but we'll
that's
never
a
really know.
huge what if. That is a huge what if. Yeah,
Yeah, and Renfro, yeah, there's another one. I mean,
Renfro's another
that's a
good one.
shame
Yeah.
how he was done dirty too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kid was sure-handed. He was a perfect fit for us for what we needed him in that play style. You know, I mean, it was because he just got canceled. If they had Gruden, they would have beat the Bengals. Like,
I don't know if that's
Like I said, I'm still done with the Gruden experiment. I mean, if we're gonna bring Gruden back, might as well bring Hot Shell back. You know, the not that the game's passed Gruden by, but I think his tenure being a coach and with the Raiders is over.
yeah.
Jonathan Abram, yeah, then he sucked after that.
Yeah, he was
He
only
couldn't
good
get
for like maybe
just
1 year.
yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know. I still don't think AP's going anywhere. I
No,
really
I
don't.
I don't like I said, I
And
don't want him to go anywhere either. I think he really uh emulates what it means to be and understand the Raider culture, and I think
mhm,
he's trying to do too many things simultaneously. He's trying to learn to be a head coach still. He's trying to implement a good structure. He's trying to teach the Raiders culture, and I think it just all kind of caught up to him a little bit too fast. Especially because one, we weren't winning games, and two, um, the it was just a bad um coaching decision to get Getsy. So I think
yeah, I'll give you
that
that one too.
there was a lot of stuff going on that were either just out of his control, or he took too many things on his plate at once. And hiring Getsy, uh I think it was a bad decision, but it was because it wasn't our first option. Like we wanted, and we had Cliff Kingsbury, and so once he moved on to Washington, it was kind of like, fuck, now what do we do? Because all of the rest of the potential offensive coordinators are gone. Like I wanted originally Eric Bieniemy, former Chiefs offensive coordinator, um, and I think he has some ties to the Raiders somehow as well. I can't think of them right now, but I thought he was a really good offensive coordinator. He was in Washington, I think last year. He's at UCLA currently. Um,
Yeah,
but that's who I wanted. I thought he was still out there. We could probably go get him, and then we got Lugetzi, and I was like, what is going on
yeah.
right now? But yeah, exactly. Yeah, AP hired Lugetzi, exactly. That's yeah. But yeah, that was my thought on it. Did who did you want for your offensive coordinator for this season? Like, if it was your pick, you were AP, who would you have gone to go get?
I mean, obviously, I would have liked to see Cliff stay,
Mm-hmm.
be the man, but that just wasn't happening. I mean, other than that, it wouldn't have been Getsy, but I don't honestly know, to be honest. It just, I don't think anybody really comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously,
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh was not going to come here.
No, I did not
There
want
was
Jim Harbaugh
no,
either.
we were not going to get him. Same reason why Sean Payton wasn't going to come here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a hot destination for head coaches. It's a good destination if you're in a situation like AP.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to take a chance on you type thing, but you're not going to get any mainstream coaches. I know another name that keeps getting kicked around now too is I hate saying his name, but Bill Belichick.
Oh yeah.
That's another name that keeps popping up. That Brady wants him to come in and be no, no, because you know why? Because I'm gonna have to eat crow from living in New England and all these years of talking crap about him, and all of a sudden he's gonna be the coach of our team, and then I'm gonna have to listen to all these New England Patriots fans around here going, "Oh, you're all right with it now because he's coaching your team." No, I'm not all right with it. I don't want him there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want him in the building talking to Brady. Hey, get out, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, Luke, I said that's what I said too. Not so much Crosby, but we should have had a fire sale, man, before the before the trade deadline. I mean, if we got to get rid of Crosby, we get rid of Crosby. I hate to say it, but this team needs a complete rebuild at this point. It's not even just drafting one or two guys and plug them in and then we go forward. I mean, this is in. we're in tear down rebuild mode, you know, where we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be in this situation. You know, we had a perfect team. Well, not perfect, but we had a near perfect team going into when Dum Dum was hired,
Yeah.
McDummy. You know, and it's all for naught now. You know, so at this point, with you look at that current roster. I mean, yeah, we've got some good players. You know, we've got a lot of free agents at the end of this season. So
Mhm.
now it's like, who do we sign out of all these free agents? You know, who's the priority? Who's not? Who's going to save us money if we don't re-sign them so we can put it towards someone else? You know, so it's there's certain ones that we need to have back. Spillane, we need to have back.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, Max is still in the contract. I'm not worried about him.
Nate
You
Hobbs, I
know,
think, is another big one that we need to have
Hobbs we
back.
should have back. Yep, he's definitely one. You know, Kuntz, hopefully he comes back
Mhm.
healthy. You know, we see what he does next year.
What do you think about
Um,
Diablo?
I'm 50-50 on him.
Mm.
You know, Jack Jones, I wouldn't be upset if he goes. I really wouldn't. I mean,
Yeah.
I know he wants to be a Raider. I know he likes playing here, but he's hit or miss. You know, this is why we needed to do a complete rebuild. You know, there's so many holes that we need to fill. It's it's like there's not enough. We don't have enough draft picks to fill them. So the way you do that is we needed to trade people players off to get those picks to help fill those voids.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, so the goal next year in the draft, all right, quarterback first. If we can't, if we get the quarterback, then what we do is we go for offensive lineman next, and then draft a running back later on if they want to run him back that bad, and use all that free agency money, and you go out and you get the number one top defensive end that's a free agent that's good, you know, not just one that was good 5 years ago,
Mhm.
you know, because of his name. You go out and get that top one that's out there as a free agent that wants to test the free agent market and see what he can get because he's still a top defensive end. And you match him up on the other side with Crosby, you don't need superstar cornerbacks at that point.
Mhm.
You can stick with what we have, re-sign them, or bring in some other guys that might be a little bit cheaper. Because if you've got two defensive ends that complement each other, the offense you're going up against is not going to be able to get plays off every single time.
Mhm.
Someone's going to get disruption in the backfield. You know, we don't need you don't need a bunch of Deion Sanders in the secondary, basically. You
Mhm.
know, where you're paying a shit ton of money for them. You know, I look at Sauce Gardner. Look how he looks off now.
Yeah, he doesn't like
He's
to tackle, that's why.
no, well, yeah. I mean, I get, yeah, but that he just doesn't look the same as he did last year. I don't know what's up with him. I don't know if he's playing hurt or not. But yeah, I mean, this this game here will tell us a lot going forward for the rest of this season.
Mhm. You know, I'm kind of actually on the other side of the spectrum. I don't think we're that many pieces far behind. I don't think we're, let's tear this thing down. Let's, get everybody out. Let's do a total rebuild. I think our offensive line is extremely solid. Colton Miller is, well, he has had a pretty bad year this year, but he's normally one of the best offensive linemen. Dylan Parham was one of the best guards coming into this year. He was one of the best blocking guards. Then we get Jackson Powers Johnson to solidify that center spot. That other guard
Mhm.
spot is where I think we could use our free agent money. I think if we can get a really good guard in free agency, and then obviously our right tackle DJ Glaze has been a really good tackle, and then we pick up the
Move
quarterback.
James to guard.
I like James as a player. I just don't think center is not not his
No, no, no,
spot.
no. I'm not. No, no, no. He's done as center. I mean
Yeah,
that's JPJ's spot for the rest of the season
right.
and beyond.
Yeah.
No, move James to guard.
I mean, Jordan
Squish him
Meredith
in
has
between.
been okay so far,
Yeah, but if you move him to guard and put him in between Glaze and
and JPJ.
JPJ, I think
Yeah.
he'd be good there on the right side.
Yeah, so I don't think our offensive line is as bad as everyone is saying. I think we do need help for more weapons on the receiver side. Definitely need a running back. And then defensively, I think if we have everybody healthy, we should be okay. I like you said, defensive end is a big one. If we can get another defensive end
Hmm.
opposite of Max Crosby, that helps the rest of the defense entirely. I don't know. Uh, with Divine Diablo, I like Diablo. He's been really good this year. I don't know how much. It really comes down to how much he's going to ask for in free agency. If he asks for way too much money than what we're comfortable with paying,
He's not. I don't think he's gonna come cheap.
I don't think so either. So that's why I'm like, I'll be okay if he moves on. And if we can get an upgrade at that position, I think, that's a pretty good trade off. And then our corners, I love Hobbs and Bennett. I think we should keep Jack Jones. He's probably the best third corner you can get at this point. Um,
Hmm.
so I don't mind him re-signing him, and then don't sign Epps back. I like Epps; he did great for us last year, but Isaiah Palomar has been really really good. He's impressed me a lot this year, and I think he deserves that spot coming into next year. And then Merrick,
Yeah.
Merrick is a baller for sure. So I think we're only a couple pieces, a couple of upgrades in a few key spots, and I think we are right there. Obviously, there's some teams that like the Chiefs that who are you can I guess would say stacked, but that to me that comes down to they've been consistent in their coaching, and that's what we've been talking about this whole time. They had
Yeah.
Andy Reid for a really long time. I think he's might be the longest tenured coach this in this NFL so far, or this
Uh, for on, well, consistently on one team, I still think it's Tomlin.
oh, Tomlin, you're right.
But as
You're right.
far as total years, it's close. Because don't forget, he was a coach in Philly
In
for a
Philly,
while
right.
too.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is Tomlin, but he's definitely a top 3, longest tenured with the Chiefs for sure. He
Hmm.
has to be. But yeah, that's what we've been saying is if you can get that consistency with the coaches down, and this applies to Tomlin as well. Tomlin has never had a below 500 season in Pittsburgh, and that's that's just insane. And
Oh God,
because
yeah, that's nuts.
that's just because they have that consistency with the coaching staff and they know what to expect.
And
He has that kind of
it's
rapport.
weird how that works, huh? Isn't
Yeah,
it? It's
right,
funny how that
exactly.
works out.
Exactly. So it starts with
You don't switch coaches. You don't switch coaches every 2 years. Guess what you get? You get a winning culture.
right. That's wow.
People buy in, players buy into that culture, and they want to be there. They want to play for you.
Yep.
They're not wanting to leave like Devontae Adams. You
Exactly
know.
what you were saying with New England. Exactly what you were saying.
Yep.
Yep. But
Nobody wanted to leave New England.
nope. Everyone wanted to go there to win, to have the chance to win. So
Of course they did.
yep.
Which is why they were able to get guys so cheap all those years too,
Mm-hmm.
and re-sign guys on the cheap. I mean, I saw it firsthand because I lived around here. So they'd sign a guy and they'd get him dirt cheap.
Trade
You know
for Randy
why?
Moss for what was it, a sixth?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, of course they got players dirt cheap because all they wanted to do was win a Super Bowl, and they were able to re-sign their own players cheap
Mm-hmm.
or restructure their contracts to stay there because they knew they had the best shot out of any other team in the league to win the Super Bowl again.
Yep.
You know, so that's why players. If you look back through their roster through the years, players didn't leave there a lot, and if they wanted way too much money, then Bill didn't offer it. He didn't want to pay it. That's how players left.
Yeah.
If they asked too much, he let them go. He didn't want to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't win enough games to make us out of them. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't want to see us lose them, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like he said. I don't know if we're smart enough to. I think guys like Dart, Nussmeyer, Ewers might make it that far. Um, who else? There's another guy that I was thinking of that might make it to the second round. Can't think of his name right now, but no, Beck will go first for sure. But yeah, I mean, guys like that, I think there's still quality enough quarterbacks that will
Hmm.
make it to the second round if we do, take ourselves out of that quarterback market in the early first.
See, my current situation right now is I'm still focused on where we are in this current season. So like I haven't I about a week or so ago I started watching the college games now. Now that they're further into the season, um, like this past weekend was the first time I've watched Colorado.
Mm,
So I mean, going forward, I'll watch more college now that we're getting to the end of their season too, because this is when the players really play.
yeah, right.
Because now they're playing to make it to the college football playoffs, or they're playing for that national title. So it's
Did you
like
see the Georgia
these
Ole Miss game?
no, I didn't. I heard it was fucking unbelievable. So
Mm, I think that would have
I,
put you on the dart train. That's what I gotta say.
I um, so the way my football brain and schedule works is I'll start watching college now a little bit more religiously, you know, but I'm still 100% focused on watching the Raiders and talking about them and doing things.
Right.
Like as far as when I get into draft mode, it won't be until our season is actually over and we
Yeah.
pretty much know, where we're going to be picking in that first round. Because at that point, at the end of the season, there's only six or eight teams that are still playing, so those rankings won't have any effect on us because it's so late in the first round. You know, so that's when I stopped looking more religiously at the possibility for the draft, what we might end up with, where we're going to rank, where we're going to pick, what's the other team's needs,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not at that point yet, but I'm at it to the point of looking for our best interest and what I think would, in my opinion, what I would think would be the best fit for us.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you address it, or if you have a certain way you go about thinking about, you know, watching the college games and start rolling for your Rolodex in your head of like,
Mm-hmm.
what we want to do for the draft.
Yeah, I'm a huge just football fan in general. I mean, you can see it's on this side right here, big USC fan. So I watch
Yeah.
college football all the time. I'm always like caught up pretty much with what's going on in the college football landscape. I mean, this year
Hmm.
SC freaking sucks, so it's kind of hard to continuously do that. But this is
Yeah.
where also like how you were saying like college football gets good at this time. So it's easier, a lot easier to watch other teams at this time of year rather than in the beginning of the year because it feels like a little bit too much is going on. But
Yeah.
now you can solidify like, okay, you know what, that guy has been doing good all season, or this guy really fell off the draft boards because of this, that, or the other. So this is where you really start to form your opinions on players and things of that sort going forward. So I think that's why it's a good time to kind of start talking about this kind of stuff. I mean, also because the position that the Raiders are in, it looks like we're gonna get a high draft pick to go ahead and pick one of these guys. So it would be smart to go ahead and start watching these top tier quarterbacks, in a week by week basis. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm kind of at right now. I've always been kind of like keeping tabs on certain guys. That's why I believe I tweeted at the beginning of the year Jackson Dart was one of my dark horse Heisman guys, and he's kind of lived up to a dark horse Heisman reputation so far. So I'm looking pretty good at that.
Yeah, it's the rest of the season is going to be interesting. I mean, you look at our schedule the rest of the way. I mean, there's not many winnable games on that schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking we got Miami this week. Um, then we got the Broncos. Then it's Kansas City on Black Friday. So, I mean, Out of just those 3 right there, which one is winnable? Which one do you think out of those 3 that we can win? If we win one of them, which one do you think it is?
Kansas City.
Let me see what you think. Kansas City?
Honestly,
That's that in all honesty, that's what I said too.
that I'm
I think
thinking
they
about
do.
it. It's honestly probably Kansas City. Um, I think we had a close enough game at Allegiant to feel at least kind of hopeful, and
Yeah,
we could
I
get them
agree.
back. Um, yeah, Miami. Like I said, if they start to click, they were like pretty okay on Monday, so that's yet to be seen. The Broncos, their defense, and they just gave Kansas City a run for their money recently too.
Oh,
So
yeah. They
so
should have won that game.
they should have won that game exactly. So I don't know. It's kind of tough, but honestly, Kansas City. I think for some reason we always want to play harder against them. I mean, obviously we know why because we hate them, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think we can give them a good shot, honestly, and I think that's probably I would say the toughest game or the best possible game out of those couple of few. But yeah, what do you think?
I have a few different takes on these 3 games
Mm-hmm.
because I think there's stipulations in these games. So we'll start with Miami. It's a winnable game.
Mm-hmm.
If Tua gets knocked out of a game, totally winnable by us.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because their backup quarterback doesn't scare me at all. Their backup quarterback's worse than our starter.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not even worried about that one. So if Tua goes out, we've got a legit shot to win that game. Denver is Denver. They tend to still choke. I mean, then we're playing. They're playing in Vegas this time, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Then we play in my
Yeah,
yeah.
we
So
played
we're
it.
in
Yeah.
Vegas. So the fact that we're at home, not that says much because it's really not like a home game for us. But I still think we, we can beat them. We can beat Denver.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't think there's any stipulation with that one. I mean, the kid is a rookie quarterback. It all depends on how he plays.
Yeah.
He's never played there before. You know, indoor stadium is so different from an outdoor stadium as far as sound and atmosphere. But if Bronco fans travel well, it'll be almost like a home game for them, like it is for any other team that comes into Vegas. Now, for the KC game, I think it's winnable based on how their offense looks right now.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is scary, obviously, because this is their defensive season. Their
Yeah.
defense is good this year. Their offense, not so much. But I think the stipulation is there's a good chance that Isaiah Pacheco could be back by then.
Oh really? I haven't
And
heard that.
if he is, then that changes it up
Mm-hmm.
because that just adds another piece of the puzzle, adds more depth on their offense to where they can get back to where they used to be.
Yeah.
You know, because right now their running game is, eh, it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
but you put him in there and it's a completely different running game
Oh, for sure.
or a different offense. If he's still out, then I don't see them having a lot of success running the ball against us.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be more in the passing game, but it's always Kelsey. Kelsey could play like trash for weeks, and then he goes to play us, and he has his get right game.
Yeah,
You know, just like
exactly.
he did when he played us 2 weeks ago, or three
Yep.
weeks ago.
His first
You
touchdown was
know,
like 13 games.
yeah, he hadn't done shit all season. You know, my son, my son's in the Booster Club Fantasy League with me, and he drafted Kelsey in the first round, and he's a Raiders
Oh.
fan. I
Oh.
said to him, I said, "What the fuck you doing taking him in the first round?" He goes, "Oh,
Yeah.
it's Kelsey, it's Kelsey." So after the first couple of weeks, I said, "Hey, how's Kelsey? He's Kelsey. How's he doing?" He's like, "Shut up! I don't want to talk about it." I'm like, "I told you not to take him in the first round. You never take a tight end in the first round.
Yeah, that's
Even
crazy.
Gronk, when he was the way he was, you never
Mm-hmm.
took him with your first pick in the first round. Hell no." You know, but tight ends kill us, especially him. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean that's the scary part. We can never stop that son of a bitch. You know, I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. I hate Mahomes. I just can't stand those Chiefs. Oh God, do I
Yeah.
despise them.
Yeah.
The only other team I don't like more than them is the Patriots, and that's just for the fact that I'm living here in New England during their run. It was just brutal.
I used
And
to
living here with the tuck rule, you guys should have lived here. You guys should have been here when that tuck rule
I
shit
can't
went
even
down. Oh,
imagine. Like
oh,
I cannot even imagine that, honestly.
that's like a direct kick in the dick with a freaking steel toe boot. That was horrible.
Yeah, I can't imagine. That must have been tough because everyone was I can only imagine. It was a good call. It was a good call. Like
Yeah,
that would
yeah,
fucking
my
piss
ass.
me off.
Oh, horrible. That was a horrible day.
But speaking about,
Snow like a bastard that day
New
too.
England and their coaching staff and Bill Belichick is known for what is it? Do you know what it is?
Oh, the
Do
do your
your
job shit.
job.
Yeah, what a bunch of crap.
Do your job. Bill Belichick, everyone knows him for, telling all of his players, his coaches, just do your job. But apparently that was not made up by Bill Belichick.
No, it was not. It was actually Al Davis in a phone conversation with Bill Parcells when he was still with the Giants. Because he was having a really bad year, and Al Davis basically told him, just do your job, do what you're supposed to do your effing job,
Mm-hmm.
and he passed that on to Belichick when Belichick was coaching for Parcells, and then when Belichick was in New England, he used to instill that a lot with his coaching staff and then onto his players to just do your job.
Yep.
So that didn't start in New England like everybody says it did.
Nope.
That started with our man, Mr. Al Davis.
Yes, sir.
That's where that came from.
And
Another thing that the Patriots stole from us.
yeah, I've
You know,
definitely seen that on on t-shirts and like shit like that, like all New England, branded stuff. Do your
yep,
job, and that's what he's known for. And I think even Bill Belichick said it in the roast of Tom Brady. Do your job. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I heard him say that. So like he's definitely known for that saying, and to hear that it comes from the greatest Raider of all time, basically, and Al
yep.
Davis. uh that's pretty crazy how much influence he had on people and on the game even up until now.
Yeah, people don't, fans of other teams don't realize how important Al Davis was to, the AFL
Hmm.
and,
In the
ultimately the
merger.
NFL as we know it now.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he was the commissioner of the AFL at that time. What he did for the AFL teams and getting that merger done with the NFL. You know, it the the things that he did as a coach, and he was innovative. You know, uh, Sometimes you can't fully explain. People don't believe you half the time when you talk about Al Davis. That's not Raider fans. When you try and explain to them the whole lore of Al Davis and how
Hmm.
much he means to this organization, even though, since he's been going, God rest his soul, since what, 2011,
Hmm.
it he means so much to the current state of this NFL. It isn't even funny, and people just don't realize it. Like, there's another one that drives me nuts to this day because everybody else is using it. The Nation.
Oh yeah.
So it's Raider Nation. You
Hmm.
know, we started that. The Raiders started the Raider Nation. Pittsburgh picked up on it. Pittsburgh was the first team to pick up and start using it for themselves.
Hmm.
But now every time you turn around, everything else out there is nation. There's Red Sox Nation, there's Patriots Nation,
Hmm.
there's Fox News Sports Nation, and this nation and that nation. All copy. It's the same thing with uniforms now.
Everybody
You
wants a
know,
black one,
we
huh?
Everybody wants black.
Hmm.
Everybody wants a black jersey, black pants. They want the black. You know why they want the black? Because it sells merchandise.
Hmm.
Black is such an easy seller when it comes to uniform, to jerseys and shirts. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of these teams, when they come out with their black uniforms, look fucking sharp.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, they look awesome. I will give you that. But it's like, and it's sometimes the most obscure team comes out in all black. It's like, really? Like Jacksonville when they first came out with the all black. I'm like, God, your color's turquoise.
Or like the
But the black
Lions
is,
one, that one really like I was like,
yeah, that is pretty cool. That is a,
why are you guys doing it though? Like I don't know.
it's like they do that because they can, they sell more merchandise, plain and
Hmm.
simple. It's the only way. It's the only reason, you know. So it's like everybody's coming out with black now. It's like, stop it.
Yep.
You know, I would love us to come out in all black just
And
for one game. I'm not asking for it full time. I want to see us out there once with black helmets, black jerseys, black pants.
yeah, I
And
I
it
think
should
so
be
too.
on the Black Friday game.
That would be awesome. I think that would be
Yeah,
awesome, honestly.
it should be on Black Friday, and Black Friday should be our game every year, just like the Cowboys and the Lions have
It's
Thanksgiving. We should always have Black Friday. That
exactly what
should
I was
be
gonna
our
say.
game.
That is exactly
Our
what I
game,
was gonna
a
say.
home game for us every year on the day after Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
That's my feeling.
I think so
They'll
too.
never,
And
they'll never do it.
I mean, we're gonna have to petition real hard. Let's start it now. Black Friday in the chat, guys, everybody. But yeah, I'm kind of a more traditional kind of guy. I don't want to see us like go super off, but I think an all black alternates would be absolutely great. It would, I mean, we already have all black jerseys, so it like might as well go all the way, like go into the all black. Let's go full
Oh yeah.
on. And then, like you said, I think the Black Friday game that should be ours. That should be. This is when they did it. I don't remember who played last year. I think it was like the Lions and somebody else, the Jets, or it was like Jets and I don't know remember who played last year. But I remember last year when they first implemented the Black Friday game, I was like, this should be the Raiders playing. Like, how are you gonna
Yeah.
have something called Black Friday and not have the Raiders playing in it? Like that only makes sense. Like it seems synonymous, honestly, to me at least.
Yep.
I don't know. That's just my thought on it.
No, they won't though.
Yeah.
So I think we pretty much covered everything, right?
Yeah. I mean, basically, yeah. That's everything we got.
I mean, you can only talk about what we're going to do in the draft so much until we get to that point with where we're going to end up.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can coulda, woulda, shoulda,
Yeah.
blow out a candle, break a wishbone, whatever.
Exactly. Everyone start buying your Jackson Dart Raider jerseys now.
Oh,
That's all I
Jesus
gotta say.
Christ.
Jackson Dart Raider jerseys. Start it now. Jackson Dart to the dark side. Yeah, he's
uh,
I'm a big Star Wars fan. And he is as well, so that's probably another reason why I'm a little biased too.
oh, Jesus. I haven't watched Star Wars in years. I can't watch any of those new shows. They don't do it for me. Not at all. I'm more of a Walking Dead type guy.
I haven't seen
Walking Dead
Walking
and
Dead, so.
Yeah, Walking Dead and Fallout. That Fallout series is awesome.
Oh, I heard it was really
And I
good.
love Yeah, and well, I play the game, so I
Yeah,
love it. So it's a great
exactly.
game. Most of Raider in my channel said Team Milrow. Yeah, dude, I watched the Penguin. It's
Oh,
freaking
the
great
Penguin is
series.
dope. Yeah, the Penguin
Oh
is
yeah.
real dope. I'm excited
I
for
heard
that
they're
new
only gonna
Batman.
do one season though. I hope they
Yeah.
do more.
No, I heard it's only a one season thing too. Yeah.
You can't even, I mean, the best part about it, I didn't realize. See, I never saw the Batman.
Really?
So yeah, so I had to watch the Batman before I started watching the
Mm-hmm.
Penguin because I didn't know Colin Farrell played played the Penguin in the movie too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started watching the first episode and I'm like, no, 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 let me watch the movie and then I'll go into the series.
Yeah.
And man, dude, you can't even tell that's him
No, not at all.
with that out. Oh my god, dude, he's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
He plays that role perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a great role for him to play that. It just
Yeah. He's
That's so
great in
good,
that
that
movie.
show.
Yeah, it made me really excited for the Batman too, honestly. because I really
Yeah.
liked the first one. I thought it was probably one of the better Batman movies. So, I mean, I can go on about nerd stuff all the time. I'm a huge
You know
fucking
what though?
nerd, honestly.
I just I can't get over I just can't get past Patterson playing Batman. It
No,
just no man. I
I
just
thought he did real
that
good.
just bugs me because you know why I look at him and I just no, don't get me wrong, I never saw any of the Twilight movies, but every time I see him, it's all I can think of is Twilight, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't have this werewolf wannabe or whatever he was in those series playing Batman. I'm like, it just doesn't look right. It's just I can't.
Yeah, I
You
get
know what
that.
it is? I liked Christian Bale when he played Batman.
Yeah, that's my
Even Ben
brother's favorite too.
Affleck was decent. I didn't mind Ben Affleck,
I
to
didn't
be
like
honest
Ben
with you.
Affleck. Yeah, I didn't like him, honestly.
No,
After,
why
because
not?
I seen the Flash, and it's just like it's not. I don't know. I didn't really like him. To me, um, it's definitely Christian Bale is probably the best one, but right there at number two is Robert Pattinson for sure. I really
Ugh,
liked his portrayal.
I can't. I can't. I just can't get past that plot. I don't know why. Just something about it. Just no. Now you start talking Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot. Oh yeah, that's my girl. Yeah, she's awesome.
yeah. I
Well,
think that's
we
pretty
really
indisputable.
digressed there, huh? We went from talking Raider football to talking about freaking Wonder Woman. Holy shit! I mean, I don't
Yeah,
care. I'll talk about anything. I mean, he brought up the Penguin, so I'm
there you
fine with
go.
it.
Yeah,
I don't have a
exactly.
problem talking about it. I mean, I'll talk about anything. I don't care. Don't bother me. So
Yeah,
whoever's watching, what do you guys want to talk about? You guys got anything? You got
I
any
know, guys. Huh?
questions?
Honestly, we had a
Any?
whole lot of questions from one person. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, today's Wednesday, so I got all my good shows on Wednesday. I got the Chicago shows,
Hmm.
and Survivor. There's something else too. I forget what the other one is. I think there's three shows on that. Yeah, I think there's one other. But, well, I
Well,
guess we're
yeah,
gonna
I think that's
call it.
about it. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. We touched on all of the topics that I have written down right here. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, unless there's any other questions they got in either of our chats, I don't. I think that's about it.
Oh, you going to any more games this year?
Um, so I would like to. I think I was trying to plan on going to either one of the later like December games. I think it's Atlanta, and then the Chargers is the last game. I think that's in
Hmm.
January though. Um, so one of the
Yeah, they still
later,
haven't picked a date on that, so that'll be decided at the end.
yeah, I think I want to try to go to one of those ones. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. It just kind of depends on like what the schedule is like. I want to continue to go to like tailgates and stuff like that. Do some more of those kind of experiences. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I've met a whole bunch of ton of cool, really cool people, honestly. So I like doing that stuff a lot. So I would like to continue to do that. Um, but yeah, as of right now, no. I do have where so there's this place called Cosm in LA. It's right
Yeah.
next to it's right next to like where Intuit and SoFi is. So it's
Yeah.
basically like a mini sphere in Vegas. Like it has like the whole like big widescreen but they show games. So they're having
Okay.
the Raiders and the Falcons game, and we got tickets to go to that at Cosm in LA.
Cool.
So that is going to be a really cool experience. I plan on doing some kind of I don't know what I'm going to do there, but I plan on doing something like recording something there because that's a
Yeah.
brand new thing, and I've been seeing it all over social medias. So that looks really cool. Maybe doing some interviews there, taking some drinks with some Raider fans. So look out for that, you guys.
Yeah, I can get out there at some point, but I want to get out there while they're good. I don't want to go out there and watch them lose.
Yeah.
You know, I well, my son's a Vegas Knights fan.
Mhm.
He has been obviously since the team was formed. So I mean, my goal is to get out there, the two of us, like fly out like on a Thursday, and hopefully set it up where the Knights are playing like Friday night.
Uh-huh.
Go to the go to
Golden
the
Knights,
Knights game.
baby.
Surprise him with tickets to that game. There you go. And then do the walk around Vegas thing Saturday day. Hit the pregame party Saturday night, and then the whole going to the Raiders game on Sunday.
Mhm.
You know, so but I don't want him to know about it till we get out there. I just let him think we're going just to a
Oh,
Raiders game. Oh, Jesus.
so stop showing all of my night stuff. I got my tattoo. I got look at right here too. This one is signed. I don't know
You got
if you can see it. It's signed right
you
here.
got a Vegas night tattoo?
Yeah, it's signed right there by Jack Eichel.
Oh damn.
Uh, I have a thing right here. It was a there because okay. So this is what I wanted to say the story because you were explaining this last week when I was in Ohio. So last year or 2 years ago now, I went to Stanley Cup Final Game 1 in Vegas,
Mhm.
for the 2023 final, and so me and my girlfriend got there like 4 hours early because I was like crying for a Golden Knights free tattoo because they give away free tattoos prior to the game. And so
Really?
we waited like 3 hours to get tattoos in the hot June sun in Vegas. And I got my tattoo. And as soon as I got my tattoo, they were like, all right, they let the doors open. We rushed right into the game. So it was really, really, really cool, honestly. Yeah.
You got a Raiders tattoo too, or no?
Yeah, I do. On my leg. They're both on my leg, so I can't really show them. But
Nah.
yeah, I do have a Raiders tattoo. It's with
Yeah, my whole right arm is all Raiders all the way up.
oh, that's
It's
dope.
tough to tell from here.
Yeah, I got a portrait of California. I'm a huge Angels fan too, so it's like the Angels had a logo. It was a portrait of California with a halo at the top. So I have
Hmm.
that, and then it has like the Raiders and a California like logo. It's like CA for California, and then
Yeah.
the portrait aren't the skyline of LA and like the sign of the city I live in. So it's pretty
Oh,
cool.
sweet.
It's on I think I have it on TikTok if you want to see it. If anybody wants to follow me on TikTok at LVRaider10. So it's definitely on there somewhere. I put it up somewhere.
All right. Well, I'm
Yep.
ready to call it a night here.
Yeah. I am ready to.
So everybody out there, make sure you like and subscribe to both my channel, any_Raider Boosters, and to Nathan's, which is LV Raider 10.
Yes, sir.
Again, hit the like and subscribe. We appreciate the follow on everything. We've got our links for our other social media platforms, so feel free to hit any of those up. And till next week, stay positive, everybody.
Just win, baby.